So by our role in pastoral protocol, we are able to follow, we have the privilege of following Reverend Steve when he's going to preach in various churches. And for those who are here for the first time, Reverend Steve Mensah is our general overseer. And he preaches in all kinds of churches, very large churches, sometimes very small churches. And I remember one time he went to preach in a large church. And it's not just a large church. The event he was preaching in was a convention. So people had come from all over the world to be part of this convention. There were bishops from all over the world who were part of it. And that was the day that Reverend Steve was preaching. And in addition to the bishops who have come from all over the world, we also have top ministers of the gospel who have also been selected and advertised to be part of the service. So as you enter the convention, on the right side, you will see that the pictures of the bishops are there. And then on the left side, you will see all the various ministers, top ministers of the gospel who are participating in the convention who are also there. So Reverend Steve and we and the team, we go in, the bishops and the general overseer of the church are in a lounge waiting for him. So we arrive, and then all these ministers would minister before they come. So some will minister during the offering, some will minister during worship. But at this time, people are still coming in. The bishops are also in the lounge. And then when Reverend Steve arrives, we all come into the auditorium and we sit. Now, on Reverend Steve's team, there are two people, Kweku Kwame, our own Kweku Kwame, and then Esther Godwell. Now, this story happened about a year or 2 years ago. These are up-and-coming artists. So when you look at the list of people who have been selected to sing, they are not there. They don't even qualify to be on the list. In fact, if they go and see the church leaders and say that, I have a great voice, I want to sing at this convention, they'll just sack them from there because they are not there yet. Now, when the time comes and Reverend Steve is asked to, now we hear from our guest speaker, Reverend Dr. Steve Mensah. And then he goes onto the stage. Esther will follow. And then Kweku Kwame will also follow. Now, Reverend Steve then starts talking. And remember that in these conventions, the peak of the service is the time that the man of God is about to speak. That is the high point of the service. Now, before Reverend Steve starts preaching, he will say that before I preach, I would like my daughter Esther to sing a song. Now, remember that Esther is not part of the ministers who have been selected to sing at that point. Yet, Esther is the one who will sing at the high point of the service. And why is it the case? It's not because Esther has a good voice. It's not because she is pretty. But she's able to sing at that time in the service because Reverend Steve is on the stage. You get my point? So Esther's singing at that point is not because of anything that she has done. It is because of the presence of Reverend Steve at that point. That's why she's able to sing. At that point, she doesn't need permission from the church. She doesn't need to introduce herself. She doesn't need to do anything. All she needs is that Reverend Steve